Well, as you can see, Barcelona training behind me here at St James Park. Headed tomorrow night, huge Champions League clash here on Tyneside. And yeah, this one is going to be an absolutely massive occasion for Newcastle. They'll be looking to stir up memories of 1997. They'll be taking on a Barcelona side who come here on the back of a 6-0 win against Valencia. And going into this game, there's been a lot of talk about the fact Lamine Yamal, the teenage sensation who's lit up Euro 2024, he won't be involved in this game, but there's plenty of other options for Barca. It's a big disappointment that Lamine Yamal's not going to be playing. I mean, that was mentioned in the press conference. Eddie Howe touching on that just about an hour ago. And yeah, you know, the other options they've got, Barcelona, they've still got Robert Lewandowski in the side. He may be 37, but he's still finding the net on a regular basis. And also Marcus Rashford coming here trying to prove a point, his first game back at an English ground. And really for him, he'll be looking to put in a performance that impresses manager. That was the message that Hansi Flick just laid down to Rashford in his press conference before. And really Newcastle themselves go into it thankfully on the back of that 1-0 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers at the weekend. But this could not be more of a contrast. It'll be absolutely jumping here tomorrow night, and I think really nobody can wait for the action to start. I think Eddie Howe will feel his team are now in a good place to compete, but he knows it's going to be very tough against Barcelona, who, as I say, second in La Liga. They've just smashed Valencia 6-0 the weekend. They'll be looking to continue their run of form. But for Newcastle fans, Champions League is back, and as you can see around here, there is a special feel at the stadium as Barcelona get to work. Hopefully Newcastle can get the win. I'm going to predict it's going to be a big night, and I think that Newcastle United will get the 3 points on the board. I think it'll be tough, but it's a real opportunity. I think they'll do the business against Barca, and the crowd will play their part tomorrow night. Right, well, I'm now outside after the press conference, the open training, and everything that came in between, which was a lot of football discussion amongst journalists about tomorrow night. And yeah, it's a bit calmer now. The video I'd done in the stadium was a little bit rushed because, as I say, you only have that 15-minute slot, and then you are pretty much being moved on by UEFA officials who pretty much take over the stadium. But it's a really pleasant night in terms of weather, and to stand, you know, at your home stadium seeing Barcelona walk out and train, it's pretty special. And it was a good sort of feel around the ground. It reminded me very much of 2 years ago when PSG came here, similar time of year. And to see that UEFA flag and that Champions League flag just flapping in the wind on the top of the East Stand, you know, it just shows, you know, Newcastle are back where they belong, according to a lot of people, me being included in that, because I think we should be looking at ourselves as an elite club. And pretty much tomorrow, you know, confirms that. Barcelona coming to town, Newcastle trying to get off to that flying start in this bumper edition of the Champions League. It's just one big league now, 36 teams, no longer what we'd call an old-fashioned group of death, which is what Newcastle stumbled to last time, despite that great start against PSG. But yeah, just sort of recapping what was said in the press conference. First and foremost, Eddie Howe, you know, talking about the magnitude of the occasion, talking about how he may tap into some Sir Bobby Robson sort of nostalgia before the game. Will he throw a quote in there? I think that would be very apt going into this game. And he said, you know, he's still got time to think about what team talk he will deliver before this huge game here tomorrow night against Barcelona. In terms of injuries, Newcastle obviously knew before they didn't have Johan Visser. He's going to be out for at least a month. Eddie Howe pretty much said he's going to be back after the October international break. So that is a lot better than people first feared. We report that on Saturday night anyway, but to get it sort of confirmed from Eddie Howe was, you know, a big plus as well. So it's not as bad as first feared. Certainly not an ACL, which was the rumour doing the rounds before Saturday. But look, Newcastle have options. Despite Visser being injured, Newcastle have got Nick Valdermede coming into this squad, and it's going to be really interesting to see where Anthony Gordon links up. He's free from suspension for this game, and realistically for Newcastle, you would think it would be a good idea to play him to get minutes in the legs and also freshen the team up a little bit. I asked Eddie about what's going on with Anthony Elanga, £55 million signing from Nottingham Forest. We're used to seeing him in that famous red shirt of Nottingham Forest, tearing defences down, but we haven't seen the best of him at Newcastle. And within a game, he was on the bench, and he's struggled for game time, which is a big surprise given we all know what he's capable of doing. Eddie Howe saying he's still adjusting. There haven't been difficult discussions. There's obviously a lot of understanding what's going on between the player and the manager, but at the minute not in the team. Will he get an opportunity tomorrow night against Barcelona? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, huge game in prospect. Also interesting to speak to Hansi Flick, the Barcelona manager. He was asked about Valdermede, expressed a little bit of surprise, I would say, when asked about his price tag. Said, he's still got a lot to sort of learn, a lot to improve. Said he's delighted that he's got to move to the Premier League. It's great for German football, obviously him being a former Bayern Munich coach. But probably the nicest thing anyone from Bayern Munich has said, or anyone with Bayern Munich links has said about Valdermede since he arrived here for £69 million. So yeah, he's going to get another opportunity to build on that goal against Wolverhampton Wanderers at the weekend. Newcastle go into on the back of a 1-0 win, and the stage is set. So let's hope Newcastle can put on the performance that is certainly going to be demanded by the fans. But yeah, it just feels Newcastle are ready for the Champions League again. Yeah, and a couple of other loose ends. I mean, obviously Tino Asprilla has been jetted over by Newcastle to come to St James's Park for this one. Stirs memories of that 1997 win over Barca, and Newcastle will be looking for something similar. But it's great that they've got Tino, who's going to be involved here. He's going to be involved in this occasion, and fantastic. Newcastle United have flown him over. They really are trying to look after the former players, and Tino was the big star on that night, and now Newcastle fans we'll hope someone else can step up and be the hero in this game. But great to have him here. We know this game's been sold out. I think a few people have been fortunate enough to scrape late tickets. The box office producing a few extras, but this one was always going to be a sellout, as every game is. But this one, sought after, big occasion, and just exactly where Newcastle United, as I said before, deserve to be, and probably where they belong. But thanks for watching. We're going to be back here tomorrow night at St James's Park. Busy time now, press conferences flying in left, right and centre. But Barcelona stepping out on St James's Park. It's going to be a big occasion. Let's hope Newcastle up for it.